The next step is how to adjust the direction of the gear doors. So I can remove those, and what I'm going to do here, I've got my two servos here which are for the doors, and I'm going to plug them into, in this case, ports 1 and 2. I only have 2 doors, so I'm sticking them in ports 1 or 2. And what we have to do here, now in this part of the setup procedure, what we want to ensure is that when we open the doors, or when we lower the gear and the doors open, then the servo is travelling in the correct direction to open those doors. Now, I'd advise against having the arms on in this stage, because it will, particularly if it's in your aircraft, because you can then damage your airframe potentially, or the servo. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw a little black line on there, and the same on the other one, so that I can see the direction of travel when I flick the switch. So to give you an example, on this servo here, when I lower the gear, I want the arm to move that direction, so I want the black dot to go that direction, and on this servo I want it to go the other direction there. Okay, so when I lower the gear here, you can see that actually on this servo here, which is in port 1, it's moving the wrong direction. If I do the similar exercise on the other one, I lower the gear here, and once again, if you can even see that from where you are on the video here, it's going the wrong way. I'll just zoom in to show you that in more detail. So you'll see the black mark there. I want this to rotate in this fashion when I lower the gear to open the door, but actually you can see it goes in the wrong direction. So I have to reverse the direction of the servo. So just to recap then, we've plugged in the door servos. In this installation I actually only have 2 servos, but you could have 3 obviously, and we have noted the direction of them when we lower the gear. In this instance, both servos plugged into ports 1 and 2 are the wrong way around, and we're going to use the setup procedure now to correct for that. To use the setup procedure, what we have to do is we turn off the sequencer. There's a little button here, you press and hold that sequencer, and when you turn on the power, you should see, if you continue to hold, the light starts to flash rapidly. When it starts to flash rapidly, let go of the button, and then you basically get prompted for the next subroutine in the sequencer's programming. And the way that works is it will give you one long flash, and if you want to enter that, one long flash stands for the servo direction. If you don't want to enter that, you just ignore it. It'll then give you 2 long flashes, which is how you adjust the travel. Again, if you want to adjust the travel, you press the button. If you don't, you just ignore it. It will go on to 3 long flashes, 4 long flashes, etc. And we'll cover those as we go through the parts of this video. So for now, we want to enter the servo reverse, which is subroutine 1. So I'm going to enter setup routine by pressing the button, holding, turning on the power. You can see the LED flashing rapidly. There's the 1 long flash. And what I've done is I've just pressed the button to enter that. Okay. Now what you can't see on the video, I'm quite sure, is that the servos are prompting you for their direction. I'm just going to let this go because it's too fast to do it all in one, and I'm going to start again. Okay, this time I'm going to enter the subroutine. I'm going to press the button after the first long flash, and then after the first short flash, signifying port 1, I'm going to press the button again, telling it that I want it to reverse. It's then going to go and give me 2 short flashes, asking me about servo 2. Once again, I'm going to press the button to tell it I want to reverse. It'll then ask me for 3, 4, 5, 6, which aren't plugged in at the moment, so I'm going to ignore. So, turning off. Oop, I got that the wrong way around, I did. Okay, pressing the button, turning on, entering the setup procedure. 1 long flash, I want to enter that. 1 short flash, there we go, let's reverse the servo direction. 2 short flashes, reverse the servo direction. Let it do its thing, and those 2 servos have been reversed. Now you can either let it finish the entire setup routine, or when it gets to the next long flashes, it will have saved that subroutine, so you can turn it off. You must let it finish its subroutine, but you can turn it off at that point. So now if I turn it back on, when I move the servo direction, and once again I'll zoom in just to show you. In fact, I'll tell you what I'm going to do, I'm going to zoom in and do the whole lot again. So now, when we look at this mark, we wanted it to go anti-clockwise, we wanted it to go this way. If we watch the mark, when I lower the gear, it now moves in the right direction. The same is true for the other servo. What I'm going to do now, I'm just going to go through that setup procedure once again with the camera zoomed in, just so you can get a better idea of what I'm doing. We've already established that the servos in ports 1 and 2 need reversing, and we're going to do that through the setup procedure. The way we're going to do that is we're going to enter the setup procedure by holding this button whilst we turn the sequencer on, and that will give us 10 rapid flashes just like that. When the flashes start, you can take your finger off and be poised to select the subroutine that you want. So what we're going to do, we're going to start up the sequencer by pressing the button and turning on the power. Starts to flash rapidly, we get ready, there's the first long flash, and I press the button. There's the first single flash, the second, and what you'll see here is through that subroutine it will actually count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for each of those ports. Depending on which port you want to adjust, you obviously then press the button once again to catch it. So, subroutine 1, ports 1 and 2 is what we want. So, starting again, and obviously when you do this, the real thing, you only have to do this once. I'm just turning it off for the demonstration and doing it bit by bit, because I realise it's quite fast. So, subroutine 1, ports 1 and 2, here we go, press the button, turn on the sequencer, 10 flashes. First long flash, I select that. First short flash, I select that. Second, select that. And what you might have seen, if you're quick enough, is those servos actually moving to show you what you have selected. I'll just let it finish its routine. You can turn off the sequencer basically when you get to the next set of long flashes. It saves your changes at the end of every subroutine, so by the time you get onto the next long flashes you can just turn it off. However, we're nearly there, and it just demonstrates the 5 long procedures, and there's the 10 rapid flashes signifying that it's exiting the setup routine. And now, excuse me, now when I lower the gear, you'll see that the servo moves in the directions that we wanted. Same with both servos. That's basically the end of the second part of this video series. We've now set up the doors in the correct direction.